Check, 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 check. All right. Gonna start the live stream. The work is done for the day. Saturday night. It's almost 9 o'clock. Gonna watch a series of videos about yesterday's events in the White House pertaining to Zelensky and his meeting with the president and the vice president in front of the press. I'm sure by now you've heard some of how that went. You may have even seen it. I caught a bit of it, and man, it was very exciting. I mean, we've wanted for some time to see this happen. From the very beginning, several years ago, look, I'm not going to claim to have understood this situation from the beginning. At the very beginning, when the invasion happened, I confess that I was moved by that video, the video I've got pictured here, that first video of Zelensky and his generals, and this was staged so well. I fell for it, I was like, I remember texting a friend and just being like, damn, this is like exciting, I remember the first one that I watched, there wasn't the translation that's going to be here tonight of what they were saying, but it almost defied the need for translation because it was had this air of resoluteness and heroism and leadership. You've got Zelensky here and his boys. It's such a great shot. They did such a great job, Zelensky and his boys, his generals, standing around in their garb that, over the years has grown tiresome, and we're going to hear the president comment on it shortly. But standing around in their garb, just looking like, yeah, Vladimir, come get some. We're not going anywhere. They're not fleeing. He was the leader who was not fleeing in the time of crisis, in the time of need, in the time of war. He was right there in Kiev or wherever, saying, here we are, come get us. We're not going anywhere. There was that refrain he kept saying, you're going to hear it in a minute. It was funny because when you watched it, you're like, you didn't know what he was saying, but he kept repeating this phrase, and then it turned out this phrase translated to, we are here, or we are still here, right? So this was that clip, several years ago that I saw before I understood any of this or the backstory to it. All we knew was what the mainstream press was, reporting to us. A mainstream press that, it's not like I put any stock in what they said, but I didn't have any sort of other frame of reference for understanding what was happening, other than here was this leader of this small Slavic country standing up to this bully, this ex-KGB, descendant of communist Russia, Vladimir Putin, standing up to him and saying, toot, here we are here, And I was moved by it. I'm sure many of you were too. This is it. Oh, I'm clicking the wrong part here.
Всім добрий вечір. Лідер фракції тут.
Тут.
Голова Офісу президента тут.
Тут.
Прем'єр-міністр Шмигаль тут.
Тут.
Подоляк тут.
Guy gets in the camera.
Президент тут. Всі ми тут. Наші військові тут. Громадяни суспільства.
Guy in the back's like, timestamp.
Тут захищаємо нашу незалежність. Нашу державу. І так буде й далі. Слава нашим захисникам, слава нашим захисницям. Слава Україні!
Glory to Ukraine. All right. And it was very moving to many of us. It was very moving. Fast forward several years, and we've all, the reasonable ones among us have caught on to what's going on. We have the Biden pseudo presidency, and then we have our prayers answered, and the election is too big to rig. And the Don comes to power, and many of us are heartened by that, as we should be. And now here comes Zelensky back to the White House to ask for more help. And in the meantime, what we've caught on to is that this whole thing is one giant money laundering operation Even Zelensky said, of the what is 170 billion that has gone from U.S. taxpayers' pockets to the Ukraine, he said we've maybe only seen 70 billion of it. So where's the other 100 billion? Oh, well, talk to Doge. It's a money laundering operation, and here is President Trump here to shut down the laundromat, essentially. So I'm going to play a couple of these clips from yesterday's events. It's very exciting. Let's get to it.
Now we see some Marines coming out the front door of the West Wing there. So
this
is
the arrival of
Trump
Zelensky at the White House.
That doorway of the White House. He's standing there, the awaiting media pack. As you can imagine, a huge travelling pack has come with President Zelensky, or shouting questions to him. Here is President Zelensky's vehicle now driving up the driveway, turning around to enter into.
There have been some cynical takes from the left. Who cares what they think, right? Some cynical takes from the left regarding Trump and Vance not having any intention of hearing Zelensky out. This sort of being like a staged. They sort of knew it was sort of a foregone conclusion how this meeting was going to conclude. I don't think that's the case. You can form your own opinion as we watch. And I will, I'll revamp mine if I see something here that suggests otherwise. But I think it was Zelensky's impetuous and entitled demeanor, which explains why he aligned so well with America's political left, impetuous and entitled, right? But I don't think it was a foregone conclusion. I think Trump came into this meeting and Vance came into this meeting with the same goal in mind that they've been saying, they were saying all throughout the campaign and since, which is we want peace. Our involvement in this will be to that end, to that goal. Let the chips fall where they may, but what we're after is peace. So you can imagine if that's the case, and then they sit down to negotiate with Zelensky, and Zelensky seems like he's not after peace. Well, then it's going to go a different way, and it went a different way.
The portico, followed by that minibus with his entourage, as I was mentioning.
But I'm sure
you'll see the vehicle just pulling
that Trump
up
had in mind what he was going to say about
there,
Zelensky's wardrobe.
Waiting on President Zelensky. There may be a slight few. There you can see the vehicle there pulling up. Slight delay between what I'm seeing in real life here, I guess, and the relaying of the video images. President Zelensky now out of the vehicle. There we go. A warm
we're not going to hear the comment on the outfit
between President Trump and President Zelensky. Let's listen.
The comment, you can tell. See, we're not watching here. The president's not, at least from the point of view of the camera that we're watching, the production that we're watching, the camera's not mic'd. But you'll see in other clips of this that immediately Trump shakes hands, looks at him and says, remarks on Zelensky's outfit. You're meeting with the president of the greatest world power, put on a tie, bro. And Trump had that comment, that zinger, locked and loaded, ready for this. And Zelensky did not disappoint. He showed up in his Target sweater. So, his Henley, or whatever you want to call it. But you can see the look. If I just back it up, look at the look. When Trump makes this remark, you don't even hear the remark by Trump. But watch the look on Zelensky's face as he absorbs the remark. Watch.
To enter into the portico, followed by that minibus with his entourage, as I was mentioning. You'll see the vehicle just pulling up to the portico there, President Trump waiting on President
Door
Zelensky.
Opens. Trump steps forward
there
to
may
greet
be a
him.
slight few. There you can see the vehicle there pulling up.
Oh, hey.
Slight
nice
delay
sweater,
between
dude.
what I'm seeing in real life here, I guess,
Hey,
and the relaying
that's
of
right there.
images.
The showman, the world's greatest showman. Trump immediately plays to the cameras and points at Zelensky's outfit and comments on it. And immediately, I would argue, Zelensky has a sense that this is not going to be easy.
Zelensky now out of the vehicle. There we go. A warm
I'm wearing
handshake
a sweater.
between President Trump and President Zelensky. Let's listen. So yeah, nothing audible there anyway. But
we got the audio
reporters
elsewhere.
who were shouting those questions are some way back from the doorway where President Trump and President Zelensky shook hands. They've gone now into the West Wing.
If you haven't heard the audio from that moment right there, I would urge you to check that out. I thought that it was going to be in this clip, but this is just the BBC with distant cameras and no mic. But immediately, Trump's first comment was like, hey, welcome, nice to see you. What's with the outfit, bro?
Into the Oval Office. The next thing that will happen, there's a kind of, I suppose, theatre in an organisation to these visits. They'll go into the Oval Office. Members of the White House pool will go in with them, as there are hundreds of journalists here. They can't all fit in the Oval Office, so there are some of the regular White House reporters, and then the visiting Ukrainian media as well will go into the Oval Office, where there will be some initial footage of them. We've seen in past days, past visits of foreign leaders, President Trump and the visiting leader take a number of questions from the media pack there. It's not clear whether they're going to do that today. We're often told these things in advance, and we haven't been told that in advance today, so we will see just what we hear. Obviously, we'll bring anything we get from the Oval Office straight to you as soon as we have it. But James, that is a moment that I suppose seemed potentially in doubt a few weeks ago. A warm handshake, a warm smile and greeting between the two men.
Because you couldn't hear what was said. But if you heard what was said...
Absolutely, and optics matter. Donald Trump did...
Not just optics matter, but audio matters too. Like I said, if you haven't heard the audio from that moment, go check it out. But we're going to proceed here.
Indeed, come out and greet President Zelensky as he did with the UK Prime Minister and French President.
A backhanded greeting. And just, I haven't read The Art of the Deal, but Trump understands. You know, I don't want, what you want to call it, Sun Tzu, Art of War, all that stuff. Don't leave your adversary wondering. Don't give away too much information. So Trump with the warm handshake, and then the comment that's like, hey bro, don't make any assumptions about how on your side we are. I'm going to criticize your garb because you're already sort of disrespecting the nature of this meeting, the nature of this summit, if you want to call it, just by the way you've rolled in here. All right? Optics matter. And Trump immediately put Zelensky on his heels with his comment about his outfit. I'm gonna move on here to the next clip, and then we're gonna see at length the meeting in the Oval Office after they've gone in. Okay, so here we go.
Well, thank you very much. It's an honor to have President Zelensky of Ukraine, and we've been working very hard, very close. So we've actually known each other for a long time.
So, you know, in light of 3 years of past geopolitical history, but also in light of that interaction out at the car, watch Zelensky's body language and his facial expressions.
We've been dealing with each other for a long time, and very well. We had a little negotiation spat, but that worked out great. I think for both countries, I think for the world, actually.
And also understand that Zelensky and Trump are both coming into this meeting on the presumption, this is very crucial. They're both coming into this meeting on the presumption that Zelensky has just met with Marco Rubio, Trump's Secretary of State, and that an agreement, an agreement has been reached about the nature of the United States support for the Ukraine going forward. And that was going to involve, there's got to be something in it for us. That doesn't compromise Trump's goal, his stated goal of peace. It's just that if we're going to help you reach a peaceful conclusion with your adversary, there's got to be something in it for us. No more handouts, bro. So the context here is that Zelensky has already met with Marco Rubio, and you can't see it in this shot because it's a tight two-shot, but just to the couch on the right is sitting Marco Rubio right next to J.D. Vance. And Marco Rubio is thinking, yeah, I just talked to Zelensky, and we reached an agreement that the United States was going to get some natural resources from the Ukraine if we're going to facilitate and assist them in their quest for peace with Russia. So that's what Trump is thinking. That's what Vance is thinking. That's what Trump is thinking. That's what Vance is thinking. That's what definitely Marco Rubio is thinking, because he's the Secretary of State and he had a prior meeting with Zelensky. But is that what's going to materialize here? No. And it's the fact that that's not what materialized that made this whole thing go sideways.
Beyond both countries. And we have something that is a very fair deal. And
that's it right there. See, Trump just said it. We have everyone in this meeting except for Zelensky, who's going to now back off what he said. He's going to go back. He's going to be an Indian giver. He's going to go back on his word. Very unmanly. Trump is a very manly man, right? He's like, we had an agreement. Trump says we have something that we can move forward on. We've got a deal. The art of the deal.
We look forward to getting in and digging and working and getting...
Digging for minerals and natural resources.
Some of the rare earth, but it means we're going to be inside, and it's a big commitment from the United States, and we appreciate working with you very much, and we will continue.
Notice that as Trump mentioned digging, and resources, etc. If you notice, should I just back it up 10 seconds? I wish there was a backup 10 seconds feature on YouTube, but there's not. But you'll notice that you didn't see any positive affirmations from Zelensky. He didn't nod like, yes, what Trump's saying is true. He didn't nod like, yes, I just had this prior meeting with Marco Rubio, and that's what we established. Even though that was all the reports, Marco Rubio report, that was the report. Marco Rubio and Zelensky had reached this agreement, and now we were going to the president with that tentative agreement. Trump mentions that. I'm just saying all this because the reports from the left are like, this was staged. Trump and Vance knew all the while that they were just going to shut Zelensky down. No, that's not what happened. Zelensky backed out. That's my take. I haven't watched this thing at length. We're going to watch it at length together, but that seems to me clearly what happened. Zelensky told Marco Rubio one thing, and then he got in the Oval Office and he got cold feet or whatever, and he backed off. And like me and my kids say, that meme, right? It was at this moment he knew that he fucked up.
To do that, we have had some very good discussions with Russia. I spoke with President Putin, and we're going to try and bring this to a close. It's something that you want and that he wants. We have to negotiate a deal. But
now, I am going to back it up. Again, just watch Zelensky's body language. As Trump is mentioning this prior agreement and the fact that the goal here is peace and we're going to bring it to a close, you don't see nods of affirmation. You see, how am I going to navigate around this? And then an eyebrow raise from Zelensky. Let me just back up a few seconds. Ready?
Discussions with Russia. I spoke with President Putin, and
He's
we're going to
grimacing.
try and bring this to a close. It's something that you want and that he wants. We have to negotiate a deal.
He said it's something that you want, and Zelensky was like,
But we've started the confines of a deal.
Look at him.
I think something can happen. The big thing is the number of soldiers.
This dude does not look comfortable with the way that this meeting is being staged.
Mostly at this point, but soldiers being killed. You're losing thousands of soldiers. So on both sides, we're losing a lot of soldiers, and we want to see it stop.
I really recommend, as you watch this, I know I keep chiming in, listen to Trump, but look at Zelensky.
And we want to see the money get put to different kinds of use, like rebuilding. And we're going to be working very hard.
We want to see the money put to different kinds of use. Not lining the pockets of American politicians, not lining Zelensky's pockets. We want to see it put to the use of peace. Trump is about peace. Trump is the non-war president. He's the only non-war president that we've had in recent memory.
Hard, but we've had a lot of very good conversations. I will say until we came along, the Biden administration didn't speak to Russia whatsoever. They didn't speak to anybody. They just allowed this to continue. And I will say that, I'll say in front of you, you've heard me say it 1,000 times, if I were president, this war would have never happened. We would have had a deal negotiated for you without having to go through what you've gone through. But your soldiers have been unbelievably brave. We've given them great equipment, but somebody has to use the equipment. They've been unbelievably brave, and we give them great credit.
This is great of Trump. He's complimenting the Ukrainian military. He's not denigrating their efforts. He's saying, you guys have been brave as fuck. You've been brave, but it's not working. You're getting crushed, and we are not interested in funding the continual slaughter of your people. We want peace. So we've already spoken to Putin, and now we're speaking to you. And we're speaking to you on the assumption that what you want is peace for your people as well. And again, I know the cynical take from the left in the past 24 hours has been Trump and Vance went into this knowing that they had no intention of making a deal with Zelensky. That is just not the case. Trump and Vance are getting blindsided here. They're getting blindsided because Zelensky had reached a putative agreement with Marco Rubio, the Secretary of State. And you can see in his body language as Trump talks here that he's not comfortable with the way Trump is framing this. But Trump is framing this in the way he's framed his goals in this whole ordeal all along. We want peace. And if we're going to continue to be involved, it's going to be towards the goal, towards the end of peace.
This was supposed to be over very quickly, and here we are 3 years later. So I give tremendous credit to your generals and your soldiers and yourself in the sense.
The art of the deal. Compliment, compliment, compliment. Give credit where credit is due, but be real about the stakes, be real about the terms, be real about the situation.
It's that it's been very hard fighting, very tough fighting. They're great fighters, and you have to be very proud of them from that standpoint. But now we want to get it over with. It's enough, right? We want to get it over with. So it's an honor to have you.
Oh my gosh. It's going to take forever if I keep stopping on every single moment, but look at Zelensky as Trump makes this goal that's been stated a million times. This is not a surprise. This was a campaign. He campaigned on this. He's been saying this since the whole thing started. This is not a surprise. But look at Zelensky as he says it. Zelensky's like, how am I going to get around this and get more money and get out of here? Watch.
Fighting. They're great fighters. And you have to be very proud of them from that standpoint. But now we want to get it over with. It's enough, right? We want to get it over
Zelensky.
with. So,
look at him right there.
Look at him right there. Thank you very much for coming. We're going to sign the agreement at the conference in the East Room in a little while.
The plan is to sign an agreement. The predicate of the agreement, the preface, the backdrop, the exposition, whatever you want to call it, is this prior meeting with Marco Rubio that says we're going to help you, but this thing is going to end, and we're going to get something out of our help for you to end this thing and stop the slaughter of your people. You want the slaughter of your people to stop. Don't you, Zelensky? I mean, who would doubt that? You're the president of this country. Don't you want your people to stop dying? And never mind the fact that there are so many people in this region that Russia is after that actually see themselves as Russian citizens, that actually want Russia there. They see themselves as Russian. That's not talked about a lot. It's made to sound as if the Ukrainian people are just like completely on board with this. They're not. They're not.
Right after lunch.
I've said it once, I'm going to say it again. Listen to Trump and watch Zelensky. Don't take your eyes off Zelensky. Don't take your ears off of Trump.
And we'll be having lunch together. We're also discussing some other things. And we appreciate everybody being here. It's somewhat of an exciting moment. But the really exciting moment is when they stop the shooting and we end up with a deal. And I think we're fairly close to getting that. And
that's right.
An honor to have you. And
Trump thinks we're very close to getting that deal because Marco Rubio has previously met with Zelensky, and those were the terms. This is not a blindside. This is not Trump and Vance going into this meeting knowing they were not ever going to sign a deal with Zelensky. This is Zelensky effing up. Forgive me. I got to grab a beer. All right, here we go. I wish I could comment fast enough to not keep stopping this, but it is so fascinating to watch Zelensky. If you watch him understanding that he knows that he told Rubio one thing and now he's about to say something entirely different.
Please, I'd like to say something.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. President. Thank you for invitation. And really, I hope that this first document, will be first step to real security guarantees for Ukraine, our people, our children. I really count on it. And of course, we count that America will not stop support. Really, for us, it's very important to support and to continue it. I want to discuss it with details further during our conversation, and of course the infrastructure or security guarantees, because for today I understand what Europe is ready to do, and of course I want to discuss with you what United States will be ready to do, and I really count on your strong position to stop Putin, and you said that enough with the war. I think that is very important, Ben, to say these words to Putin at the very beginning of war, because he is a killer and terrorist. But I hope that together we can stop him. But for us, it's very important to,
Now, Zelensky, you're talking to a man who has just negotiated with the man that you're calling a killer and a terrorist. Okay? Already, you're putting the man across from you who holds all the cards, and I think in a moment you're going to hear Trump mention this very phrase. It's like a card game. He holds all the cards. You're putting him in a very difficult position by saying that the person that he has previously negotiated with to help you stop the bleeding in your country, you're calling him a killer and a terrorist. This is not a good way to start. It's not a good way to start.
To save our country, our values, our freedom and democracy, and of course,
our freedom and democracy. Didn't Zelensky just cancel elections? Isn't he oppressing Christians in his country? Isn't didn't he just cancel the elections? Am I wrong? I'm not wrong.
No compromises with the killer.
Is a president who cancels elections pro-democracy?
About our territories, but it will be later. And of course, what I wanted, we spoke about it by phone with you about the drones production. We have very good drones production. I think the best one in the world for today because of the war. Yes, and of course, we need very much the air defense. You have the best air defense in the world, and really you helped us under attacks of Russians, and I want to speak how we can exchange the licenses. We're open to share the licenses of all our drones with you, of course, with the United States, and we need licenses for quick production of air defense. Even after the war, we need our nation to be calm, that we are secure. So that's why we need this air shield. And of course, about this, I want to speak about the contingents. I think that France and UK already spoke to you, and we know that Europe is ready, but without the United States, they will not be ready to be.
Let me just say something else here. You've heard Zelensky several times now frame this discussion with Trump to Trump. He's talking to Trump. That's the interesting thing about summits like this, where they're both talking to the press, but they're talking to each other. And you've heard Zelensky several times mention, look, Europe is already on board with us, and we're looking to get America's green light too. He's pressuring Trump. He's already pressuring Trump to go in the direction of Europe, to fall in line with Europe. And bro, that is not the way to talk to a man like Trump. You don't talk to a leader like, hey bro, you better do this because everyone else is doing this. It's not the way to do it. Zelensky doesn't seem to understand that.
Be as strong as we need. And the last point, last not least.
So I've said several times, just listen to Zelensky, but just listen to Trump, but watch Zelensky. But now you're going to need to start to watch Trump as well, because I think you're going to see Trump get a sense that this is going sideways. All right.
About exchange, about our people and children. And you know that these crazy Russians, that they stolen 20,000 of children.
these crazy Russians. Look, you're talking to a man who has just negotiated with the leader of Russia and has reached a tentative peaceful conclusion with him and is now trying to bring that conclusion to you and get you to agree with it. And you keep insulting that guy that this guy, Trump, has previously negotiated with, which means indirectly you're insulting here the man, the Don, the man in the red tie, the president of the United States. You're insulting him as well. I haven't read The Art of the Deal, but this is just sort of common sense. This is just sort of common sense. This is gentleman stuff.
Ukrainian children, they changed their names. They changed their families, relatives, and now they're in Russia. We want to bring them back. And really, it's a big dream, task and goal for me and our warriors. By the way, Mr. President, we released more than 4,000 warriors from Russian prison, but there are thousands more in the prison. I wanted to share with you some images, how it's, can I now?
Yeah, please.
Some 1 minute. 1 minute. I just you to
Zelensky
understand
has brought pictures. He's brought propaganda.
What situation they are and what the attitude of Russia to our prisoners. That guys, just you before and after. And you see before and after, just you to understand. Now thousands of such guys.
No mention thus far of the agreement with Rubio, the tentative agreement with Rubio. Now it's just look at these pictures and look how we're suffering. Commit to helping us like Europe has committed to helping us, irrespective of A, your goal of peace, or B, your prior talks with the Russian president or minister or whatever, with Vladimir Putin, or irrespective of my previous discussions with Marco Rubio. This is not going to go well.
Ladies and men, there, and that, so they don't eat, they beat them, and they, they do a lot of bad things. So out of, even during the war, there are rules. Everybody knows there are rules during the war. So these guys, they don't have any rules. You see that 50, 60 kilograms left, and a lot of such things. And I didn't want to show you what the changes with images of children, because I will just share with you. And I mean, it's looking tragic.
Yeah, that's tough stuff.
Yeah, I wanted very much to give you, and you see.
Yeah.
This is pastor, by the way. They stolen.
I understand that we may think, and it may be true, that everything Zelensky is showing Trump is true. Surely it's true. This is manipulation, though. Trump has said explicitly what his goals are. His goal is to stop everything that Zelensky is showing him pictures of. All right? And he has previously talked to Putin, right? He's previously talked to Putin, and Marco Rubio has previously talked to Zelensky, and Trump has it in mind that what we're here to do is end all this. And Zelensky is showing him these pictures, this propaganda, without any mention of the aforementioned agreement. And it'll be very interesting to watch as this meeting progresses, at what point Trump is like, bro, are you here to manipulate me into continued support no matter what and just follow Europe's lead? Or are you here to put your name on the dotted line and end this thing?
Pastors, because it's not Russian church. They stolen pastors and moved pastors to the prison. At the end of...
I don't think Zelensky should be talking about the treatment of Christians or pastors.
Last year we brought 3 pastors, and we could exchange them. And this is pastor, you see.
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah, so I mean this I wanted to show you, and this, so thank you very much.
We want to get that ended, right?
Yeah.
We want to get that ended, right? Trump, look at the side eye. Watch the side eye from Trump. Ready?
3 pastors. And,
ready?
We could.
This is kind of spontaneous. This is kind of spontaneous. Zelensky is springing this on him Trump is like, oh, you're showing me photos. Yeah, I'm aware of all this, but okay, you're showing me photos. Why are you doing this? Zelensky, why are you doing this?
Exchange.
Watch the side eye from
This
Trump.
is pastor, you see.
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah, so I mean, this I wanted to show you, and
Side eye right
thank
there.
You very much.
There's the side eye. And I think it's at this point that Trump is like, okay, what are we doing here?
We want to get that ended, right?
Yeah, of course.
Double check. We want to get that ended, right? That's what we're here to do, right, Zelensky?
And I think we will. I think we will. And
We have to, of course.
do you have any questions, please?
Thank you, Mr. President. With the, how much money is the U.S. going to put into the fund that is being created today, and how does this provide long-term security for Ukraine?
Well, we don't know exactly how much because we're going to be putting some money in a fund that we're going to get from the raw earth that we're going to be taking and sharing in terms of revenue. So it's going to be a lot of money will be made from the sale and from the use of raw earth. And as you know, our country doesn't have much raw earth. We have a lot of oil and gas, but we don't have a lot of the raw earth.
Trump is framing our involvement and our continued support of the Ukraine and of Zelensky and of these peace negotiations in terms of the agreement that has been previously reached between Rubio and Zelensky. This is why Trump appointed the cabinet that he appointed. This is why he appointed Rubio. Rubio was meant to handle this. He handled it, and now here comes Zelensky, and he's backing out. It hasn't quite happened yet, but Trump is getting a sense. He's like, look, that's what we're here to do, right? We are going to get something out of this. We're going to help you, but we're going to get something out of this.
And what we do have is protected by the environmentalists, but that can be unprotected. But still, it's not very much. They have among the best in the world in terms of raw earth. So we're going to be using that, using it for all of the things we do, including AI and including weapons and the military. And it's really going to
There's no free lunch.
Satisfy our needs. So it's something that just worked out really well. We have a lot of oil and we have a lot of gas. We have a lot, but we don't have raw earth. So this has just about every component of the raw earth that we need for computers, for all of the things we do. This puts us in great shape.
This is a great deal for America. It's a great opportunity for us to help someone in need reach the peace that they need and stop the slaughter of their people that they need, and for us to get something out of it for our efforts. And the whole time that he keeps coming back to this refrain, it's not quite clear yet that this has fallen through. So Trump keeps emphasizing it, and Zelensky, you can see, I'm not going to back it up again. You can back up the stream if you want. Zelensky is kind of like, how do I get out of this?
Long-term security for Ukraine. How does this provide?
I think they're going to have great luck. I think once we make the agreement, that's going to be 95% of it. They're not going to go back to fighting. I've spoken with President Putin, and I feel very strong. I've known him for a long time, and I feel very strongly that they're very serious about it, and we'll make a deal. And when the deal is made, I don't think we talk about security. Everyone's talking about the other day. All they talked about was security. I said, let me make the deal first. I have to make the deal first. I don't worry about security right now. We have to have a deal because right now, last week, 2,000 soldiers died on both.
No blank checks. We got to have a deal first. Our involvement with you must be predicated on an agreement. That agreement was tentatively reached by you and Secretary of State Marco Rubio, and we are here to sign on the dotted line. Isn't that what we're here to do?
Both sides. 2,000, and they're losing 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 a week. So as we sit here and we talk, people are getting shot and dying on the battlefield. And, you know, they're not American soldiers, but they're Russian soldiers and they're Ukrainian soldiers, and we want to be able to stop it.
Look at that. Look at that. Trump mentions not only the deaths on the Ukrainian side, but the deaths on the Russian side, you know, and that is very humane and very real of him. We have Vladimir Putin and we have Zelensky. But below them, we have soldiers, we have guys, we have men, we have fathers who are just getting mowed down by NATO 5.56s, all right, and AK-47s, right? We're concerned about them too, on both sides. We want, in other words, to come back to the refrain, we want peace. We want peace. And our involvement in this conflict, which is not ours, it's not ours. We're over here. They're over there. If we're going to get involved, we're going to get involved towards the end of peace for both sides.
We want to be able also to spend money on other things. We don't want to, this is a tremendous amount of money. And what the Biden administration did was terrible. They were giving money, but he had no security on the money. Europe, as you know, gave much less money, but they had security. It was in the form of a loan. They get their money back, and we didn't. And now, at least we're protected because the American taxpayer has to be protected too. But
make America great again. Trump is advocating for the American citizen and saying the money I'm spending and the negotiations I'm entering into must be understood in light of the fact that I'm spending other people's money. I'm spending the money of men and women and fathers and mothers and workers in America whose taxpayers are just being shipped off to this conflict in another country, in another land. And if we're going to be involved, it has to be towards the end of peace.
this is an incredible agreement for Ukraine because we have a big investment in their country now, and what they have, very few people have. And we're able to really go forward with very, very high-tech things and many other things, including weaponry that we're going to use in many locations, but that we need for our country.
Mr. President,
This allows us to do this.
Will you continue?
I'm sorry.
Military aid.
Yes, go ahead, please.
If I can just, yes, in the document there is.
Notice that Trump just said this allows. In other words, without this, i.e. the agreement, we don't have anything. This allows us to do those things. And you see Zelensky here is sort of wincing, sort of grimacing, sort of getting ready to interject. And Trump's like, yeah, go ahead, interject.
One of the very important points, if we speak about business and investment, we never had LNG terminals in Ukraine. This document will open. I mean, the next documents, but anyway, here we see in the framework, we see really goodwill for this. LNG terminals for us is very important, and I think for security of European continent. We have the biggest storage, gas storage. We have the biggest in Europe. Yes, yes, and we can use it. Use it for LNG. Use it for LNG, and we will do it. And really, we can help Europe because Europe really helped. President Trump said that they made less support, but they are our friends and they are our very supportive partners. They really gave a lot, Mr. President. They did.
They really gave a lot. Now Zelensky has shifted to now he's continuing to put this pressure, you'll notice, on Trump to agree because of what Europe has done. Because of what Europe has agreed to. And what do you think Trump's response is going to be? Yeah, but that's not us, bro. Trump is about the American worker, the American economy, the American family, the American citizen. America. It's very fascinating.
They gave a lot, but they gave much less.
No.
Much less.
No.
Oh, look at this moment here. Trump's like, okay, yeah, they helped, but they gave a lot less, and we gave a lot more, and you're here to negotiate with us about what we're giving, not to pressure us to simply follow Europe's lead. Europe's interests are not our interests. We have interests, and if you're going to talk to us about our help for you, you can't do it simply in terms of what Europe has done. We are not going to be pressured that way. The art of the deal. It's getting a little bit hot in here.
Okay.
And like a gentleman, look at Trump playfully trying to be like, bro, he's trying to steer Zelensky back. It's getting a little bit awkward. He's trying to steer Zelensky back.
Mr. President Trump, you have repeatedly called the deal with Ukraine as a historical one. And as a President of the United States, you make historical decisions in other issues which affect America and other world. So what place in the world history do you want to take? And do you associate yourself with any famous historical figures?
Now, this reporter's question is interesting. It's putting pressure on Trump to form his decision in terms of world. Look at this. This is the one worldism. This is the hands across the world. This is the one worldism. You don't want to be remembered as someone who prevented world peace, do you? Trump's like, I bet. He's going to say, well, I'm the president of America.
Yeah, I'd say George Washington, Abraham Lincoln. I would say I'm far superior to George Washington and Abraham Lincoln. No, I'm only kidding, right? Because when I say that, the fake news is going to go wild. They're going to say he considers himself to be better than Washington. But you never know. You never know. I don't compare myself to anybody. I'm here to do a job. We've had
exactly. Don't try to pressure me and frame me in terms of world events. I'm the president of America. I'm looking out for America's interest. If we're going to be involved here, it has to pay a dividend to us.
35 days or whatever it might be, a month, a little more than a month. We've accomplished tremendous amounts. Not only this would be a very great achievement if we could get the war stopped and get them back to normalization. I think that's going to happen. We've had very good talks on both sides, as you know. But
he's referencing the talks with Marco Rubio between Zelensky and Marco Rubio, but he's got a sense that Zelensky is being coy.
I think we've done a very good job, just generally. If you look at all of the things we've done in 30 days, they're saying there's never been a opening for a president. The first month, there's never been a first month like we've had. And this is one of the very important things. This, to me, is one of the most important things because we have tremendous death taking place as we speak. And I don't want to have that. Think of the parents. Whether they're in Russia or Ukraine, think of the parents of all these people being killed.
Again, here is Trump referencing the suffering happening on both sides. And watch Zelensky recoil at Trump even taking into consideration the suffering on the part of the Russian people. I'm not talking about the suffering of Vladimir Putin. See, like Liz Cheney and all that whole ilk is going to be like, well, you siding with... No, Trump is thinking of the Russian soldiers and the Russian men and the Russian families and the Russian children that will never see their dad again. Trump is after peace. Watch when he says this. I'm going to back it up 10, 20 seconds. Watch Zelensky's face.
We have tremendous death taking place.
Look, he's shaking his head left to right.
I don't want to have that. Think of the parents. Think of the
Watch.
Whether they're in Russia or Ukraine.
Oh.
Think of the parents of all the people being killed.
As soon as he said whether they're in Russia or Ukraine, Zelensky went, why are we talking about that? Bro, we're talking about that because what we want is peace. We are concerned with both sides. We're not a party to this. We want peace for the people. He is the people's president.
Needlessly.
They came to our territory.
Should have never...
Look at, he interjects. Oh my gosh. He's actually openly interjecting like, bro, you can't be concerned with the Russians. They came to our territory. They came to your territory under the direction of their leader, but they are just men. They are just soldiers. They are fathers. They are families. And Trump is concerned about them. He's concerned about them, and he's concerned about your men. And he wants peace. You can just see incrementally as this proceeds how it's going sideways. if you watch Zelensky as Trump talks, forgive me, I'm going to go to the fridge. This is so fascinating. It's so fascinating. It's so fascinating. Okay, here we go. Here we go. It's already started to go sideways, and we have Trump trying to keep it from going sideways, and we have Zelensky shaking his head from side to side every time Trump mentions the suffering on the other side of the equation.
Started. This would have, if I were president, this would have never started.
God, watch the body language. Look at Zelensky's eyebrows. Look at the way every time Trump tries to bring it back to the suffering on both sides, Zelensky's like, he kind of rolls his eyes. Watch.
I don't want to have that. You know, think of the parents. Think of the whether they're in Russia or Ukraine. Think of the parents of all these people being killed.
Whether they're in Russia or Ukraine. Look at Zelensky's reaction. This is going sideways. It is at this point. It's been going sideways. It hasn't reached its boiling point yet, but it's going sideways.
Needlessly.
They came to our territory.
Should have never started. This would have, if I were president,
oh, look at Zelensky.
Mr. President, will you continue sending military aid to Ukraine after the U.S. signs this agreement with Ukraine?
Yeah, we're going to be continuing.
To President Zelensky, do you feel like the U.S. is on your side? That President Trump is on your side at this moment?
But
what do you think?
he wants to know, do you think that, sort of a stupid question.
Oh, excellent, excellent, excellent. It is a stupid question because Trump has been clear since the very beginning that it's not about sides. It's about peace. It's about he wants to stop the killing of both sides.
I guess we wouldn't be here if I wasn't.
I think that the United States on our side from the very beginning of occupation, and I think that President Trump on our side, and of course, I'm sure that the United States President will not stop support. This is crucial for us. It's important.
As Trump is going to say later, you don't hold any cards, bro. You don't hold any cards here. You don't have a leverage. You're a beggar. You're coming to us asking for help. Okay? And we don't have the interest that you have in slaughtering and defeating your enemy. We want everyone to stop being slaughtered. So if we're going to get involved, in other words, if we're going to continue to be involved, it's going to have to be under the auspices in light of, with the goal of, with the intention of the slaughtering coming to a stop. And every time Trump emphasizes that, Zelensky kind of rolls his eyes and looks the other way and tries to find a way around it. And then the reporters pick up on that and they're like, okay, let's just ask. Trump, are you on Zelensky's side? And Trump's like, that's a stupid question. And Zelensky's like, well, we think you're on our side. Bro, now you're putting pressure on him, a man, Trump, who has just finished talking to Vladimir Putin saying, hey, we want to stop the slaughter of your guys too. Now you're putting pressure on him to look bad to the guy on the other side that he just negotiated peacefully with.
For us, yes. And Putin, the president speaks about the people and the soldiers which are dying, but they came to our territory, they came to our land. They began this war and they have to stop. And I think this is the question, with really the most important question. Can President Trump, I hope yes, with some other allies, to stop Putin, withdraw these enemies, our enemy, withdraw these troops from our land? And
now, Zelensky has just made it clear that what he expects is for Trump to take his side and stop Putin. That was a mistake. That was not the predicate for this whole meeting. That was not the presupposition of this whole meeting. And Trump is growing impatient with being forced into this corner that he never agreed to in the first place. Look at him. Look at him. Can you see my mouse here? Look at him. I know I said earlier you're going to have to just watch Zelensky, but now we're at a point in the meeting where you need to watch both of them. When one guy's talking, you need to watch the other guy's face.
I think that you asked about the history, I think that if President or when he will stop Putin, if President Trump will bring peace to our country, I think he will be on this wall.
We've had very, very good talks.
Now Zelensky has just framed, look at this. He has just said, essentially, he said, you'll be on this wall. He's talking about the Oval Office. He's saying you won't be a good American president unless you help us on our terms and stop Putin. That's never been Trump's position. This is going sideways.
President Zelensky just said that there will be no compromises with Vladimir Putin.
Yeah.
I just wanted to ask both of you. Firstly, are there compromises that you think that President Zelensky is going to have to make? And President Zelensky, is there anything that you might be thinking that you may be able to offer or bring to the table, for example, elections? Thank you.
I think you're going to have to always make compromises. You can't do any deals without compromises. So certainly he's going to have to make some compromises, but hopefully they won't be as big as some people think you're going to have to make. That's all. That's all we can do. I'm here as an arbitrator, as a mediator to a certain extent between two parties that have...
I'm not here as an ally to help you defeat your foe. I'm here as an ally for everyone, as an ally for peace, and as an advocate for my own country. How can you not love this man?
Been very hostile, to put it mildly. They've been very hostile. There's been a vicious war. There's been a vicious war. You know, it's a very level battlefield, and those bullets go out, and as I've said many times, we were talking about it with Pete, many times the only thing stopping those bullets is a human body. And in the case we're talking about, generally young human bodies are stopping a lot of bullets. It's dead level. That's why it's great farmland. It's great land. It's great farmland, but there's very little protection against the bullets that are being, and other things that are being shot. So all I can do is see if I can get everybody at the table and get an agreement. And I think we're going to end up with an agreement. Otherwise, I wouldn't probably be even here today.
I'm here because I believe that both sides want peace.
Mr. President, I've got two questions for you. You think ultimately your legacy will be the peacemaker?
Oh, gosh, I hate to keep stopping it. It's already going to be long, but look at Zelensky. Every time this idea that Trump is here to bring peace and not to merely help him defeat Putin, he gets indignant. Visually, look at him. He gets indignant. Watch this.
I mean, otherwise, I wouldn't probably be even here today.
Watch.
Mr. President, I've got two questions for you. You think ultimately your legacy will be the peacemaker and not the president that led this country into another war and ended foreign wars? And I've got a question.
I hope it will. I mean, I hope I'm going to be remembered as a peacemaker. This would be a great thing if we could do this. I'm doing this to save lives more than anything else. Second is to save a lot of money, but I consider that to be far less important. So I hope I'm going to, thank you, Brian, for that question. It was a nice question. I hope I'll be known and recognized as a peacemaker. This would be a great thing to solve. This is a very dangerous situation. You know, this could lead to a third world war. This was headed in the wrong direction. If this election were lost, if we didn't win this election, and we won it by a lot, that was a mandate. We won every swing state. We won the popular vote by millions and millions of votes. We won everything.
You better understand, Zelensky, that I'm here as a representative of the American people, and they voted the popular vote, the electoral vote. They gave me a mandate, and I ran on this. I will bring peace to the situation, but I'm not just going to simply advocate for you, and I'm not going to simply join in this war on your side. I'm trying to bring peace.
The districts, you look at the areas of red, take a look at a map. This was a big mandate. And
I'm already uncomfortable watching Zelensky as Trump talks. It's going to get worse. It's going to get worse.
This was one of the things I said, we're going to get this thing settled. If we didn't win, I think this could have very well ended up in a third world war, and that would not That would not have been a good situation. What was your second
And
question?
my second question for President Zelensky, why don't you wear a suit? You're at the height.
I did not know. I've not previewed this footage. I did not know that outside of the meeting at the SUV as Zelensky was coming in and Trump commented on the Target olive grab dream green military Henley sweater that Zelensky is famous for wearing. I did not know this was going to come up, and here's a reporter saying, "Bro, you're in the presence. You're a world leader. Why aren't you wearing a suit?" I can't wait to hear how he answers this.
Why don't you wear a suit? You're at the highest level in this country's office, and you refuse to wear a suit. Just want to see if do you own a suit?
Yeah, problems.
A lot of Americans have problems with you not
Really?
respecting
I
the
don't have
dignity of this
such-
office.
I will wear a costume after this war will finish.
Okay.
Yes, maybe one.
Maybe something like this?
something like
Yes,
yours.
sir.
Yes.
That'd be great.
Maybe something better. I don't know. We will see. Maybe something cheaper than yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, look. Let's be fair. This man is trying to stage himself. He's trying to present himself in a certain way. I understand. But you don't hold any cards. You are not capable. You have not been capable. You were never capable, and you will not be capable going forward of doing anything on your own. So if you're here to beg for help as a world leader, desperately needing the help of another world leader, present yourself like a world leader. And his reply to this reporter's question, which was admittedly punchy and provocative, but true, his reply is smarmy and smartass. And it's just not going to, again, going back to the other live stream, it's like you have to read the room. You have to understand where you are and who you're talking to and how to present yourself. And he is like indignant. He's like, he's a smartass. And when you don't have any leverage to be a smartass if you don't have any leverage.
Thank you, President Trump. You said yesterday that you have...
Are you going to send more arms to Ukraine in case there's no peace?
Yeah, we're going to have arms to Ukraine, yeah, sure. Hopefully I won't have to send very much because hopefully we're going to have it finished. We're looking forward to finishing this quickly. We're not looking forward to sending a lot of arms. We're looking forward to getting the war finished so we can do other things. But
Which is why, via my cabinet member, my Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, we have previously talked to President Zelensky, and we have said, here is what we'll need from you to stay involved and help you reach peace in this conflict that doesn't have anything to do with us.
we very much appreciate the agreement because we needed what they had. And
the agreement, look at Zelensky's face here. Trump mentions the agreement. Does it look, when Trump mentions the agreement, as I paused it here, does it look like from Zelensky's face like he is acknowledging this agreement? Or does it look like he issued this agreement or he agreed to this agreement simply with the goal of getting into this situation right here and backing out and renegotiating in a different manner? He is uncomfortable, man. He knows this is going in a different direction. He can't get Trump to play along. Trump is not a man to be manipulated. He's not a man to be manipulated. And Zelensky is used to simply manipulating us.
We're treating, our country is now treated fairly. Biden didn't do that. He didn't know what the hell he was doing. This should have never happened. This should have never started. But, sure, the answer is yes, but hopefully we won't have to send much because I'm looking forward to getting it done quickly, very quickly.
Does that mean you'll provide security guarantees, Mr. President?
I don't want to talk about security yet because I want to get the deal done. You fall into the same trap like everybody else. 1,000,000 times you say it over and over. I want to get the deal done. Security is so easy. That's about 2% of the problem. I'm not worried about security. I'm worried about getting the deal done.
The security discussion, just to be clear, I just want you to understand where Trump is coming from here. The security discussion presupposes the prior discussion, the prior agreement, okay? In other words, we are not writing a blank check. We will help you. We will fund you. We may even give you arms. We may do all that, but we will do it in light of an agreement about reaching peace. And if that agreement isn't in place, bro, you don't get to just milk us. Milk the American family, milk the American taxpayer, milk the American worker, milk the American working man, milk the American work. You don't just get to siphon money from us if there's no clear end game and agreed to goal in mind. And Trump has come into this meeting thinking that that goal has been agreed to by Marco Rubio and Zelensky. And Zelensky is being coy, continually being coy about that prior agreement.
Security is the easy part. Security is very nice. Everybody stops shooting. And now will Europe put people there? I know France is going to. I know the UK is going to. I know other countries are going to, and they happen to be right next door. We haven't committed, but we could conceivably. We have security in a different form. We'll have workers there digging, taking the raw earth so that we can create a lot of great product in this country. So in that sense, you have something, but we haven't determined that yet. I will say, in speaking to France and in speaking to, and they were here, as you know, last week and just the other day, they have committed to a lot of security. I don't think you're going to need much security. I think once this deal gets done, it's over. Russia's not going to want to go back, and nobody's going to want to go back.
Look at Zelensky, as Trump says, as Trump frames the whole thing in terms of an agreement, shakes his head. No. Even though Zelensky has previously agreed to this.
When this deal ends, I really believe this deal is going to be over. Question? Please go ahead. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. President, thank you. You had hosted Macron and Keir Starmer at the White House this past week, both of whom praised your courage and conviction to lead the pathway towards peace.
Yes.
Part of that involved, though, re-engaging Russia in diplomatic relations, something that previous leaders lacked the conviction to do so. What gave you the moral courage and conviction to step forward and lead that?
Well, I love this guy. Who are you with?
One American News, sir.
Well, that's why I like him. One American News does a great job. I like the question. I think it's a very good question. It's a pathway to peace. It's a pathway to getting something solved. And I feel that as the head of this country, I have an obligation to do that. Plus, we're very much involved. We got involved. It's too bad we got involved.
There's a woman on the couch to Zelensky's right, our left, who I think is Zelensky's wife. I'm just totally speculating here. Just disregard me if I'm wrong. But if you notice this little look that he gave as Trump was talking, it was almost like Zelensky was shaking his head no at his wife about prior conference. Look, sorry. Just look.
Something solved.
Watch this look right here.
I feel that as the head of this country, I have an obligation
right there
to do that. Plus, we're very much involved.
How stupid is this man to think that? See, Zelensky has not approached this discussion in good faith.
Got involved. It's too bad we got involved because there should have been no involvement because there should have been no war. And there shouldn't have been October 7th. That would have never happened. As you know, Iran was broke. They had no money to give to Hezbollah. They had no money to give to Hamas. They were stone cold broke. And then under Biden, they became rich as hell. They went from no money to $300 billion in a period of 4 years. And they gave a lot of that money away, and you see what happened. And that's a real mess also that we hope to be able to solve. But no, I appreciate your question very much. I feel I have an obligation to try and do something to stop the death.
If I can answer. Yes, if I can answer. Please, sorry. Please.
And I do like your clothing, by the way.
Yeah, really?
It's getting a little bit punchy. It's getting a little bit, the edges are getting a little bit frayed here. Trump's like, I like your outfit, bro. And he's just trying to be nice. This is going sideways, and Zelensky knows, and Trump knows that Trump has already made the point about Zelensky's presentation of himself. And he's trying to smooth those edges because he feels it going sideways. He's trying to give Zelensky a chance to be a statesman here.
I think he's a great guy, by the way. But I don't know if you two like each other. But you know what? I think he's dressed.
I like this guy.
I think he's dressed beautiful.
So I have more serious things than answer on such questions. I will answer on more serious questions if I can. Yeah. So please, about security guarantees and about just ceasefire. We can't just speak about ceasefire and speak and speak. It will not work. Just ceasefire will never work, because I'm like a president. I have this experience, and not only me. Ukraine before my presidency, from the 2014, Putin broken 25 times. 25 times he broken his own signature. 25 times he broken ceasefire.
But he never broke to me. He never broke.
No, you were the president. You were the president during.
He never broke to me.
In 2016, you've been the president, Mr. President. You've been the president, but he had, of course, not with you, but he had during those period. He had conversations with our side, and we had Normandy format. The France, Germany, Ukraine, and Russia, and he broken 25.
So this is Zelensky telling Trump, your discussions with Putin mean nothing. Whatever you think you've accomplished towards the end of peace with Russia, your discussions mean nothing. In other words, you are ineffectual, sir. If you want to add the sir there, it's not really appropriate because he's being very condescending towards Trump, but that's his point here. He's saying we can't trust Trump to negotiate peace because he's negotiating peace with a guy who has previously agreed to peace and broken those negotiations, broken those promises. Okay?
Times. That's why we will never accept just ceasefire. It will not work without security guarantees. Security guarantees, maybe President is right about this document and other, but this document is not enough. Strong army is enough, because his soldiers afraid, Putin's soldiers afraid of our soldiers when we're strong enough. If we are not strong enough, if we are empty, if our storage is empty, we can't defend our land. Today, he knows that we have all the world knows that we have meeting. Yes? Why he's using ballistic? Putin today using ballistic on our hospitals, schools, and etc. Ballistic. So he knows that we are here and that President Trump is really have goodwill to stop this war. And you hear now the president. So why he's using? So he doesn't want to stop. He doesn't want. But I hope that we will do it. Really, we'll do it. Security. When we speak about security guarantees, when the Europeans are ready for contingents, they need USA backstop.
Okay, so he is saying it doesn't matter that Trump has previously spoken to Putin. Putin breaks his promises. Europe has already vouchsafed to us. They've already promised to us that if promises are broken, we will back them up militarily. What I'm here now to do is to get America to follow Europe's lead and agree that they will back us militarily, irrespective of whatever agreements we've reached, because Russia is bound to break those agreements. Okay? Zelensky wants, in other words, complete and total support from the U.S. militarily, despite any peace agreements.
There will not be United States. We will not never have any contingents, strong contingents from the Europeans, because they don't want to divide alliance connection between the United States and the main and strongest ally and Europeans. And this is crucial. This is important. That's what we want to speak about very much. This is very important. And air defense. So air defense, really, we have big deficit with all these systems, and we need to provide this. We need it very much. Otherwise, Putin will never stop, and will go further and further. He doesn't want. He hates us. It's not about me. He hates Ukrainians. He thinks that we are not a nation. He thinks, and he shared these thoughts. I think maybe
a lot of Ukrainians want to be Russians and see themselves as Russians.
In media, officially,
that's a fact.
He always said that There is no such country, such nation, such language, and such life like Ukrainian. No, he really doesn't respect all the Ukrainians, and he wants to destroy us. And you are right, Mr. President. That's 2%. This document, maybe other documents, it's a very good start, very good, but it will not enough to stop this person.
Should Russia pay to rebuild Ukraine?
Mr. President, under these
Should Russia pay to rebuild Ukraine?
They have to pay.
This question.
This is the rule. This is the rule of the war. This is the rule of the war. During all the centuries, all the history, this is the rule of the war. Who began, those pay.
Do you agree?
This is the rule. Putin began this war. He has to pay all money for innovation. He has to pay. Of course, some Russian assets, what we have in Europe, about 300 billion, we can use them. We can use for innovation and buy military support from the United States also. We can do it, but it's not enough. It's not enough.
Under these circumstances, do you envision a trilateral summit with Putin and President Zelensky?
Wait 1 second.
I ask this question.
The really fascinating thing about this now is Trump has a clear sense that this has gone sideways, and Trump has a very clear sense that Zelensky is reneging on what he has previously discussed with Marco Rubio. And it's very fast. It will be very fascinating. It is very fascinating. It will be very fascinating to watch how Trump deals with the sort of improvisational nature of this. Now we're in the unknown territory, because this whole meeting was staged. I don't mean it was staged, but the whole presupposition of this meeting was the agreement between Marco Rubio and Zelensky about America's involvement and what we would get out of it. And now Zelensky's reneging on that. So let's watch how Trump handles it.
That you didn't like, because I wanted to know if you want to position yourself in the middle between Russia and Ukraine, or on the Ukraine side.
No, I'm in the middle. I want to solve this thing. I'm for both. I want to get it solved. And it's wonderful to speak badly about somebody else, but I want to get it solved. If we can solve it, great. If we can't solve it, they're going to have to fight it out, and who knows what's going to happen. But I want to see it get solved.
May I follow up? One more question about U.S. troops in Europe.
In other words, Trump is saying, if we don't have a deal, you're on your own. This is called hardball. This is saying you don't just get to milk us. You don't just get to have everything we have for no price. We have to have an interest in this. And you previously agreed with Marco Rubio, our Secretary of State, what that interest would be. And now you're being coy. And now where are we at?
Russian invasion of Ukraine, your predecessor sent additional troops to Eastern Europe, including Poland, my country.
Yeah.
Are you committed to keeping these troops on the eastern flank of NATO in the future?
I'm very committed to Poland. I think Poland has really stepped up and done a great job for NATO. As you know, they paid more than they had to. They are one of the finest groups of people I've ever known. I'm very committed to Poland.
What about Baltics?
Poland's in a tough neighborhood, you know.
What about the Baltics?
The Baltics, they got a lot of, it's a tough neighborhood too, but we're committed. We're going to be very committed, and we're committed to NATO. But NATO has to step up, and the Europeans have to step up more than they have. And I want to see them equalize, because they are in for far less than we're in, and they should be at least equal. You understand that? Why is the United States, we have an ocean in between, why is the United States in for so much more money and other things?
In other words, our interests are different than Europe's interests in this conflict. And we are not going to negotiate and or get involved, I should say, and get involved on the assumption that whatever's good for Europe is good for the United States. We are different land masses. We are different geographically. We are different politically. We are different economically. You can't just lump us all in together and say, United States, you must follow Europe's lead. We're the United States. If you want their help, enlist their help. If they offer to get your help, use their help. Go ahead, bro. Use their help. And Zelensky has admitted Europe's help is nothing without the United States' help. Okay, well now you've got to negotiate with the United States. And to negotiate, you have to offer something. And that was the nature of the negotiations between Zelensky and Marco Rubio, was that Ukraine, via Zelensky, was offering something to the United States, rare earth and minerals and mining and so on and so forth. And now Zelensky is playing coy.
As Europe. With that being said, and as you said, they've also been obviously very helpful. But we have put in far more than they have. And I think they should equalize.
Mr. President,
Please, go ahead.
Look at Zelensky shake his head. No, man, his body language is so... Oh my gosh. It's going sideways still. It's going more and more sideways as we proceed. It's going to get more sideways. It's going to get diagonal. It's going to nosedive.
The first time that Secretary Bessent gave President Zelensky the agreement, and today for the signing.
We made a deal. So
What was the deciding factor?
I'm a business person. We made a deal. That's what changed. I didn't think we were going to make a deal, and we ended up making the deal, so that changed.
Mr. President, what and how do you envision a trilateral summit with President Zelensky and Putin?
I don't know, but well, they don't like each other. I can tell you that. Okay? They do not like each other. This is not a love match, and it's unfortunate. That's why you're in this situation. The United States should not have allowed this to happen. Okay? The United States, run by a man that didn't know much, I'm going to be very nice, run by an incompetent person, very incompetent person, should never have allowed this to happen. I've stopped wars. I've stopped many wars. My people will tell you, I stopped wars that nobody ever heard about. I stopped wars before they ever started. You can look at some of, I could give you a lot of nations that would tell you right now they were probably going to war. I could tell you right now there's a nation thinking about going to war on something that nobody in this room has ever even heard about. Two smaller nations, but big, still big. And I think I've stopped it. But this should have never happened.
Sorry, just a second. About any negotiations. First of all, I want really to tell you, and I think that everybody understands that Ukraine, more than Ukrainians, nobody wants to stop this war. But at the future, any negotiations, it's understandable that two sides of the war, not Russia and the United States, because this is not the war between Russia and the United States. This is war of Russia against Ukraine and Ukrainian people. So these two sides will be at the will be at the negotiation table. Then of course United States, like the strongest partner of the Ukraine, and of course Europe. I think Europe is very important. I want to speak about it with the president. Yes, Europe is very important for us because we really defend Europe for today. All Europeans really recognize that we are defending the line, and they have real life, and our people are dying. That's why they helped us. And also, it's about the NATO. Yes, between, like the president said, you have big, nice ocean. Yes.
But you are not a part of NATO, bro. And our interests are not Europe's interests.
Between us. But if we will not stay, Russia will go further to Baltics and to Poland, by the way. But first to...
That is pure speculation. That is the threat. That is what Zelensky and Europe are trying to hang over the U.S.'s head. That if Russia is not stopped here, they will just keep going and going and going and going. Okay, maybe. But Vladimir, not according to Vlad, that is a tentative hypothesis. That is not established. That is not Putin's stated goals. Remember that interview with Tucker Carlson? Remember that? The interview that Putin did with Tucker Carlson? Putin's been very clear about his purposes and his goals and his reasons and his justification and the history that underpins all that. And Zelensky's like, well, no, if we don't stop him, if the United States doesn't join Europe in stopping him and advocating wholly on the side of the Ukraine, Russia's just going to keep going and going and going and going. Bro, you don't get to just assert that. You don't get to just say that as if it's established fact.
To the Baltics. It's understandable for them because they've been They've been in the USSR, you know, they've been one of the republics of the USSR, and Putin wants to bring them back to his empire. It's a fact. And when he will go there, if we will not stay, you will fight. Your American soldiers, it doesn't matter, do you have ocean or not, your soldiers will fight.
Okay, so now Zelensky is threatening us. He's saying, if you don't help us, this extends to you. You will fight. You will be threatened by Russia. This is not just you helping us. This is you helping yourselves. Because Zelensky will go Putin will go further and threaten you.
Mr. President, would you be willing to visit Ukraine, maybe Kyiv or Odessa, which is known to be a...
Which is to completely denigrate and disregard all of Trump's prior discussions with Putin.
It was my question.
I'm sorry.
I don't want to talk about Odessa now. Let's not talk about Odessa. I want to talk about making a deal, getting peace. We don't have to talk about Odessa, but a lot of cities have been destroyed. A lot of cities that are not recognizable. There's not a building standing.
No,
and a lot of
things.
Mr.
President, you have to come and to look. No. We have very good cities. Yes, a lot of things have been destroyed, but mostly cities alive, and people work, and children go to school. Sometimes it's very difficult. Sometimes closer to front line, children have to go to underground schools or online, but we live. Ukraine is fighting and Ukraine lives. This is very important. And maybe it's Putin is sharing this information that he destroyed us. No, he lost 700,000 people, 700,000 soldiers. He lost everything. Yes. So,
Mr. President, one more. I mentioned Poland.
Please, go ahead.
When did you last speak with President Putin, and what did he say that?
A couple of days ago.
And what did he tell you that gave you the assurance that he wanted peace?
Well, that's what I do. My whole life is.
Okay, so now the reporters are latching onto this, and the reporters are like, okay, to Zelensky's point that Russia will not stop, President Trump, what assurance do you have that Zelensky is wrong and that Putin is lying?
His deals, I know pretty good, and I've known him for a long time. I've dealt with him for a long time. He had to suffer through the Russia hoax. You know, Russia was a hoax. It was all Biden. It was nothing to do with him. So he had to suffer through that, and he was able to do that. I think that he wants to make a deal, and he'd like to see it end. That's all I do. That's what I do. My whole life, that's what I do, is make deals. And I'm in the middle of a mess, because this is a real mess. It's a very dangerous one. If this doesn't get solved now, it's not going to get solved for a long time. So I hope we're going to get it solved. In the back, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Prime Minister Starmer claims repeatedly that his government believes in free speech and was not engaged in censorship.
Prime Minister Starmer, what is that guy's name? Keir Starmer, the Prime Minister of England, who threatened us, American citizens, that if you speak out against the English government, you'll be extradited to England and punished over there. Starmer's a pussy. All right? Trump knows all this. He knows all this. He's negotiating with lunatics. He has no illusions about who Starmer is and what.
Arrest people for memes and thought crimes, and even more worrisome is pressuring American companies to censor American
yes.
behalf. How can he be a reliable, trustworthy partner when he says things that are demonstrably false on such an important topic?
Well, we actually spoke to him about that yesterday.
What did he say?
We thought they took it very, very much too far. JD was very strong on it. So was I. So was Marco. And we've been speaking to him about it. Marco, would you like to say something about that?
We have concerns, obviously, with the conduct of those, particularly as it impacts Americans. And there's real concerns.
Oh, my God. I love this crew. I love this crew. See? Trump and JD and Marco are well aware of the two-facedness, the Janus-facedness of Starmer and England. All right?
Concern that American speech, which is online, could fall into the hands of British or any country's jurisdiction. And so this is a point the Vice President made at Munich, and I think it's a very compelling one that what unites us with Europe as much as any...
If you haven't listened to the J.D. Vance speech, when he went to Germany, if you haven't listened to that speech, listen to it. J.D. Vance was like, nah, bro. You don't get to talk that way about Americans.
Anything else is these shared values, and one of them being free speech. And so if Americans are threatened by it, we're going to need to take action in that regard.
Mr. President. It's actually a very important question.
We spoke about this in detail with the Prime Minister, the Foreign Secretary, and others at lunch yesterday, and I know that Secretary of Commerce Lutnick followed up in private meetings last night. This is really important. We believe Americans have the right to speak their mind, even if we in this room disagree with them. They have the right to speak their mind in the public square.
Amen!
Often online these days. And we're going to defend that right as it pertains to American companies and American citizens vigorously if we have to. I do think that under the President's leadership, we're going to find common ground with our friends in the UK on this question, but it remains to be seen.
It remains to be seen. We're not going to acquiesce to them. We are not going to simply follow Europe and England's lead. All right? We are not them. They are not us.
Principle that will guide us is we believe in free speech in this country and we'll fight for it for American citizens.
Mr. President, on the deal, is there any other oil and gas component to the deal? Is it all critical?
A little bit. We'll see.
On LNG?
But we're not really looking for that so much. We got a lot. We have more than anybody in the world, by far. So no, we're not talking about it too much, but a little bit. I think it affects also, but for the most part, no.
And sir, is there any agreement from Ukraine to purchase U.S. LNG as part of the deal, or is that on the table at all?
No, we don't need that.
Mr. President, I just wanted to ask you about, you just mentioned that you'd spoken to Vladimir Putin a couple of days ago. Just to be clear, that's a new call, not the one that you...
I've spoken to him on numerous occasions.
Okay, and how was the latest call? What did you discuss? How did it go?
Are you serious with that question?
I am. I'd love to know.
It went well. I think we're going to have a deal.
On the minerals deal, Mr. President, some of those minerals are in the east of Ukraine, not far from the front lines and in areas that Russia has occupied. Will you direct President Putin to withdraw his forces from those areas if there's U.S. interest?
Well, we'll take a look at the time. We have a lot of area. It's a very big area we're talking about, so we'll take a look. I'll study that and I'll see.
And who would protect those minerals if they are U.S. interests? Would that be Ukrainian forces?
They'll be protected. The agreement will protect them.
U.S.
The
forces?
agreement, yeah, we're signing an agreement.
Right, but what if Russia tries to invade or there's Russian aggression in response?
I just told you I don't think that's going to happen. And if that were going to happen, I wouldn't make a deal. If I thought that was going to happen, I wouldn't make a deal.
Some people may wonder why.
You know, they ought to focus on CNN on survival, not asking me these ridiculous questions. Focus on surviving, because CNN's got such low ratings. I don't think they're going to survive. Let's go. Please go.
Since I already mentioned Poland. Poland was under Russian control for decades after the Second World War. When I was a kid, I looked at the United States not only as a most powerful country, richest country in the world, the country that has great music, great movies, great muscle cars, but also as a force for good. Do you, and now, and they are worried that you align yourself too much with Putin. What's your message for them?
Well, if I didn't align myself with both of them, you'd never have a deal. You want me to say really terrible things about Putin and then say, "Hi, Vladimir, how are we doing on the deal?" That doesn't work that way. I'm not aligned with Putin. I'm not aligned with anybody. I'm aligned with the United States of America.
Amen.
And for the good of the world. I'm aligned with the world. And I want to get this thing over with. You see the hatred he's got for Putin. It's very tough for me to make a deal with that kind of hate. He's got tremendous hatred. And I understand that.
It's going sideways. Trump is like, have you been listening to this guy as we've been proceeding through this meeting? He's making it very hard for me to acknowledge, on the one hand, my peace negotiations with Putin, and also offer my help to you, Zelensky, who's here in my Oval Office, in our country's Oval Office, on our taxpayers' dime, wearing your stupid pseudo-military garb. I'm here to make a deal for peace. I'm not aligned with either of these sides. People just... Why is it so hard to understand this? Why is it so hard to understand this? This dichotomy, like you're either with us or you're either with them. Trump has said throughout the campaign and before and after, I want the killing to stop. All of my negotiations will be in light of that goal.
But I can tell you the other side isn't exactly in love with, him either. So it's not a question of alignment. I'm aligned with the world. I want to get the thing set. I'm aligned with Europe. I want to see if we can get this thing done. You want me to be tough? I could be tougher than any human being you've ever seen. I'd be so tough. But you're never going to get a deal that way, so that's the way it goes. All right, one more question.
Hey, I want to respond to this. So look, for 4 years, the United States of America...
J.D. Vance, not afraid to insert himself, not just a yes man, not afraid to say, I got this, Trump. This man is impressive and more impressive day by day. Here comes Vance.
We had a president who stood up at press conferences and talked tough about Vladimir Putin, and then Putin invaded Ukraine and destroyed a significant chunk of the country. The path to peace and the path to prosperity is maybe engaging in diplomacy. We tried the pathway of Joe Biden of thumping our chest and pretending that the President of the United States' words mattered more than the President of the United States' actions. What makes America a good country is America engaging in diplomacy. That's what President Trump is doing.
Can I ask you?
Sure.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, now Zelensky has turned straight to Vance and said, okay, bro, you want to argue?
Okay. So he occupied our parts, big parts of Ukraine, parts of East and Crimea. So he occupied it on 2014. So during a lot of years, so I'm not speaking about just Biden, but those time was Obama, then President Obama, then President Trump, then President Biden, now President Trump, and God bless, now President Trump will stop him. But during 2014, nobody stopped him. He just occupied and took. He killed people. You know what the contact line?
2015.
2014.
2014 to 2014.
2014.
Yeah. So
I was not here.
Yeah, but
that's exactly right.
Yes, but during 2014 till 2022, the situation the same. The people have been dying on the contact line. Nobody stopped him. You know that we had conversations with him, a lot of conversation, my bilateral conversation, and we signed with him, me, like a new president. In 2019, I signed with him the deal. I signed with him, Macron and Merkel, we signed ceasefire. Ceasefire. All of them told me that he will never go. We signed him with gas contract. Gas contract. Yes, but after that, he broken this ceasefire. He killed our people and he didn't exchange prisoners. We signed the exchange of prisoners, but he didn't do it. What kind of diplomacy, JD, you are speaking about? What do you mean?
I'm talking about the kind of diplomacy that's going to end the destruction of your country.
Yes, but if you
Mr. President, with respect, I think it's disrespectful for you to come into the Oval Office and try to litigate this in front of the American media. Right now, you guys are going around and forcing conscripts to the front lines because you have manpower problems. You should be thanking the President for trying to bring an end to this conflict.
Have you ever been to Ukraine that you say what problems we have?
I have been to.
Come once.
I've actually watched and seen the stories, and I know what happens is you bring them on a propaganda tour, Mr. President. Do you disagree that you've had problems bringing people into your military? And do you think that it's respectful to come to the Oval Office of the United States of America and attack the administration that is trying to prevent the destruction of your country?
A lot of questions. Let's start from the beginning.
Sure.
First of all, during the war, everybody has problems, even you, but you have nice ocean and don't feel now, but you will feel it in the future. God bless.
You don't know that.
God bless.
Whoa, bro! Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh! Now he's threatening us. Now he's saying this is a matter of your interest. Putin is going to come after you. Your ocean doesn't matter. You don't. Zelensky's saying you don't have any leverage here. Our interests are your interests, so you have to endorse us, full stop.
God bless. You will not have a war.
Don't tell us what we're going to feel. We're trying to solve a problem. Don't tell us what we're going to feel.
I'm not telling you.
Because you're in no
Yes,
position to
you are.
dictate that.
That's exactly what you're doing.
You're in no position to dictate what we're going to feel. We're going to feel very
you will
good.
Feel influence.
We're going to feel very good and very strong.
You will feel influence.
You're right now not in a very good position. You've allowed yourself to be in a very bad position, and he happens to be right about it.
From the very beginning of the war.
You're not in a good position. You don't have the cards right now. With us, you start having cards.
Playing cards.
Right now, you don't. You're playing cards.
Mr. President.
You're playing.
You are playing cards, though. See, that's the thing. It's a you are playing cards.
You're gambling with the lives of millions of people. You're gambling with World War III. You're gambling with World War III.
I told you it was going to go sideways, man. I told you it was going to go sideways.
And what you're doing is very disrespectful to the country, this country. That's back to you. Far more than a lot of people said they should have.
Have you said thank you once? This entire meeting? No, in this entire meeting, have you said thank you?
Vance, man, I love how Vance asserts himself. He's the vice president, but look how as soon as Vance steps up and speaks up, Trump just defers. It's like, yeah, I hired this guy. I brought this guy on. I knew what he's about. Look, Vance is like, you haven't said thank you once. You're here to request all this aid. You were here to request us to take your side wholeheartedly, irrespective of all your prior agreements. You're here to enlist our help no matter what happens and treat us like we are you and our interests are your interests. You haven't even said thank you.
You went to Pennsylvania and campaigned for the opposition in October. Offer some...
That's true! That's true!
...words of appreciation for the United States of America and the president who's trying to save your country.
Please, you think that if you will speak very loudly about the war, you can...
He's not speaking loudly. He's not speaking loudly. Your country's in big trouble.
Can I
Wait a
answer?
minute. No, you've done a lot of talking. Your country is in big trouble.
I know.
You're not winning. You're not winning this. You have a damn good chance of coming out okay because of us.
Mr. President, we are staying in our country, staying strong from the very beginning of the war. We've been
with our help.
We are thankful. I said thanks
you haven't
in
been
this
allowed.
cabinet.
You haven't been allowed.
In this cabinet.
We gave you, through this stupid president, $350 billion.
You voted
we gave
for
you
your
military equipment, and your men are brave, but they had to use our military.
What about
if you didn't have our military equipment,
if
you didn't have our military equipment, this war would have been over in 2 weeks.
In 3 days. I heard it from Putin. In 3 days. This is something
maybe
new.
less.
Oh, look at him wave his hand at Trump. Bro, this is not how you do this. This is not how you do this. You don't hold any cards. You are drafting men to die who don't want to go to war, who are going to get slaughtered. You need help. Do you care about your people?
Of course, yes.
It's going to be a very hard thing to do business like this.
Again,
I tell you.
Just say thank you.
I said a lot of times to American people.
Accept that there are disagreements, and let's go litigate those disagreements rather than trying to fight it out in the American media when you're wrong. We know that you're wrong.
But you see, I think it's good for the American people to see what's going on.
I understand, sir.
I think it's very important. That's why I kept this going so long. You have to be thankful. You don't have the cards.
Thankful.
You're buried there. Your people are dying. You're running low on soldiers. Listen, you're running low on soldiers. It would be a damn good thing. And then you tell us, I don't want a ceasefire. I don't want a ceasefire. I want to go and I want this. Look, if you could get a ceasefire right now, I tell you, you take it so the bullets stop flying and your men stop getting killed.
Of course, we want to stop the war.
But you're saying you don't want a ceasefire.
But I said to you,
I want a ceasefire.
With guarantees.
Because you'll get a ceasefire faster than an agreement.
Ask our people about ceasefire, what they think.
That wasn't with me. That wasn't with me. That was with a guy named Biden who was not a smart person. That was with Obama.
It was your president.
Excuse me. That was with Obama, who gave you sheets, and I gave you javelins.
Yes.
I gave you the javelins to take out all those tanks. Obama gave you sheets. In fact, the statement is Obama gave sheets and Trump gave javelins. You got to be more thankful, because let me tell you, you don't have the cards. With us, you have the cards. But without us, you don't have any cards.
One more question to Mr. Vice President.
Oh my gosh.
It's going to be a tough deal to make.
Yeah, it just got real tough. The floor has fallen out.
What if Russia breaks ceasefire? What if Russia breaks...
Okay, let's be fair to Zelensky. This is Zelensky's issue. What if what good is an agreement without an agreement about what will happen if the agreement is broken?
Please talk. What do you do then? I understand that it's a heated conversation right now.
What are you saying?
She's asking, what if Russia breaks the ceasefire?
What if anything? What if a bomb drops on your head right now? Okay? What if they broke it? I don't know. They broke it with Biden because Biden, they didn't respect him. They didn't respect Obama. They respect me. Let me tell you, Putin went through a hell of a lot with me. He went through a phony witch hunt where they used him and Russia. Russia. You ever hear of that deal? That was a phony Hunter Biden, Joe Biden scam. Hillary Clinton, Shifty Adam Schiff. It was a Democrat scam. And he had to go through that. And he did go through it. We didn't end up in a war. And he went through it. He was accused of all that stuff. He had nothing to do with it. It came out of Hunter Biden's bathroom. It came out of Hunter Biden's bedroom. It was disgusting. And then they said, oh, the laptop from hell was made by Russia. The 51 agents. The whole thing was a scam. And he had to put up with that. He was being accused of all that stuff. All I can say is this. He might have broken deals with Obama and Bush, and he might have broken them with Biden. He did, maybe. Maybe he didn't. I don't know what happened. But he didn't break them with me. He wants to make a deal. I don't know if you can make a deal. The problem is, I've empowered you to be a tough guy. And I don't think you'd be a tough guy without the United States. And your people are very brave. But you're either going to make a deal or we're out. And if we're out, you'll fight it out. I don't think it's going to be pretty, but you'll fight it out. But you don't have the cards. But once we sign that deal, you're in a much better position. But you're not acting at all thankful. And that's not a nice thing. I'll be honest, that's not a nice thing. All right, I think we've seen enough. What do you think? Huh? This is going to be great television, I will say that.
That's right.
We'll see what we can do about putting it together. Thanks, sir.
I need the back of the All right. So that's how it went sideways. All right. Now what happens after that? He's told to leave. Trump and Vance are like, bro, you gotta go. You came here under false pretenses. As soon as we got in front of the press, you changed the terms of the deal. And now you gotta go. Because you're making a mockery of our relationship and our offer to help you. And you're threatening us. Bro, you gotta go.
Good day. We're coming on the air with breaking news. It appears talks between the U.S. and
Lester Holt, who, by the way, is on his way out at NBC. He's on his way out.
In Ukraine have broken down after a tense and combative day at the White House, and a planned news conference for this afternoon has just been canceled, we've learned. A short time ago, President Trump posting on social media saying, in part, I have determined that President Zelensky is not ready for peace if America is involved. And he goes on to write, he disrespected the United States of America and its cherished Oval Office. He can come back when he is ready for peace. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky left the White House after meetings with President Trump in an attempt to persuade the administration to continue backing Ukraine's ongoing war with Russia. But in the Oval Office earlier, Zelensky clashed with Mr. Trump and Vice President J.D. Vance. It was an astonishingly hostile exchange, the pair yelling at him about his, quote, attitude and whether or not he was grateful for U.S. support. Here's some of what truly happened.
You're right now not in a very good position. You've allowed yourself to be in a very bad position, and he happens to be right about it.
From the very beginning of the war.
You're not in a good position. You don't have the cards right now. With us, you start having cards. Right now, you don't. You're playing cards. You're playing cards. You're gambling with the lives of millions of people. You're gambling with World War III. You're gambling with World War III. And what you're doing is very disrespectful to the country, this country, that's backed you far more than a lot of people said they should have.
Have you said thank you once this entire meeting? No, in this entire meeting, have you said thank you?
Chief White House correspondent Peter Alexander is with me.
Keep in mind we're watching NBC, but let's proceed.
Now, Peter, a stunning turn of events. The whole idea for today was for them to sign this agreement that would give U.S. control over mineral rights in exchange for the expenditure in weaponry and else in the war.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Let's just take a step back for a moment and talk about what we saw. This was like nothing I have ever seen, anybody's ever seen, in terms of a dramatic moment that played out for the entire American public from inside
America first.
the Oval Office. There you have Volodymyr Zelensky alongside Donald Trump and the Vice President J.D. Vance, where they are exchanging harsh words for one another. And you think about how quickly this relationship between the United States and Ukraine has devolved. In 2022, when Zelensky came to the U.S., he was greeted by a bipartisan standing ovation that lasted minutes. And then in the course of the last couple of weeks, Donald Trump trying to get a deal. President Trump, among other things, blamed Ukraine for the beginning of the war. Of course, Russia first invaded Ukraine in 2014, then a full-scale invasion in 2022, and then referred to him, Zelensky, as a dictator here. But the bottom line is the takeaway.
He canceled elections. Didn't he outlaw Christian gatherings or Christian churches? He canceled elections, bro. He's a little Hitler. He's a little dictator. He's a little man who has no power, and he's trying to take us on a ride.
White House official, the press secretary, Caroline Leavitt, saying, in fact, this was President Trump and J.D. Vance, in their words, standing up for the American people. In his eyes, in their eyes, this is the America First policy being presented before the world. The question is where it leaves the United States, where it leaves Ukraine, where it leaves Europe, and ultimately what message it sends to Russia right now. As you know, having spoken to Keir Starmer, the Prime Minister of UK this week, there was an effort first by Emmanuel Macron of France, then by Keir Starmer, the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, to try to help secure some security guarantees for Ukraine to protect it going forward in case Russia is to try to invade Ukraine in the future. The hope was that today was a first step toward whatever a ceasefire deal would look like, a rare earths mineral deal. It was said to be a 50-50 split. The president says that $350 billion have been spent by the U.S. sent to Ukraine. The number, in fact, is about $174 billion. Nonetheless.
And Zelensky said only $70 billion have actually reached them. Where did the other $100 billion go? The laundromat is closed.
His desire is to get some of that money back. That didn't get signed. Volodymyr Zelensky is on his way home, it appears.
All right, Peter, thanks. I want to go to Richard Engel, who has been covering this story for us for many, many months during this war. Richard, let's talk about the reaction. The reaction perhaps in Moscow, the reaction in the streets of Kyiv.
They kicked him to the curb and sent him home.
I know this just happened, but what is your anticipation we're going to be hearing?
So I've already been in touch with some people in Kyiv, and they think that this was a disaster. They just watched Volodymyr Zelensky, their president, be humiliated by the president of the United States and the vice.
He humiliated himself.
President. President Zelensky went to Washington with the intention of signing this deal. There had been some back and forth with President Zelensky saying that he wanted security guarantees. That annoyed the White House. President Trump called him a dictator, but they seem to have gotten past.
He canceled elections.
That. And today, President Zelensky looked like he was getting what he ultimately wanted, some security guarantee, some economic agreement with the United States. And in the last minute, he was saying, as he continues to call for, he says, in addition to this mineral deal, we need the security guarantees. We need them because we don't trust that Russia will invade again. Then it was J.D. Vance who really escalated this. He started to press in with President Zelensky, saying, you've got it wrong, you're contradicting us, you have no right to intervene here. He talked about Zelensky carrying out propaganda tours. Zelensky didn't back down. And as the two of them, President Zelensky and Vance, were arguing, President Trump chimed in, and he had to back his vice president.
All right, Richard Engel, thank you. That concludes this NBC News special report. We'll have much more ahead on what happened here on our streaming network, NBC News Now, online at NBCnews.com.
Yeah. Vance stepped up. And then I believe Fox News asked Zelensky on his way out, on his way back out of the country as he was getting on the plane or whatever, bro, do you think you handled that wrong?
Welcome back to Special Report. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. Mr. President, thank you for the time today, especially on this day, to continue to do this interview. President Trump said after your meeting that you disrespected him and the vice president and all of America in the Oval Office. Do you think you did? And do you think you owe an apology to President Trump?
Be careful how you answer this question, bro. Now, I was like, just going back to the Michael Jordan son, you have to understand where you are and what cards you hold. All right? Don't let your ego get in the way.
Thank you so much. First of all, thank you for the invitation for this dialogue, and good evening to all your country, to all Americans. I'm very thankful to Americans for all your support. You did a lot. I'm thankful to President Trump and to Congress bipartisan support. And I was always very thankful from all our people. You helped us a lot from the very beginning during 3 years of full-scale innovation. You helped us to survive. Anyway, we are strategic partners, and even in such tough dialogue, and I think we have to be very honest, and we have to be very direct to understand each other, because it's for us very necessary to President Trump, and I'm with all respect that he wants to finish this war, but nobody wants to finish more than we, because we in Ukraine, we are in this war, we are in this battle, and battle for freedom for our lives. So I'm just telling that I think that we have to be on the same side, and I hope that the president on our side together with us, and that is very important to stop Putin. And I heard from President Trump a lot of times that he will stop the war, and I hope he will, and we need to pressure him with Europe, with all the partners. And I think this dialogue had to
pressure him with Europe. Bro, you still don't get it. You still don't get it. We are not strategic partners if we have no interest in it.
Be a little bit earlier to understand where we are. Like, you know, I don't remember exactly, but like President Reagan said that peace is not just an absence of the war. Yes, we're speaking about just and lasting peace, about freedom, about justice, about human rights. And that's why I said that I think so, that ceasefire.
Rights like democracy that you canceled?
And you know, Putin, he broken 25 times ceasefire during all these years, 10 years.
So I'm not hearing from you, Mr. President, a thought that you owe the president an apology.
No, I respect President, and I respect American people, and if, I don't know, if, I think that we have to be very open and very honest, and I'm not sure that we did something bad. I think maybe sometimes some things we have to discuss out of media, with all respect to democracy and to a free media, but there are things where we have to understand the position of Ukraine and Ukrainians, and I think that is the most important thing. Yes, we are partners. You know, we are very close partners. We have to be fair. We have to be very free.
No, we're not partners unless we have some stake in this, which is why your agreement with Marco Rubio that was backed out of in the course of that meeting, materially it was backed out of. We're not partners. We're partners if we have an agreement, which was the whole point of that exchange.
I'm told that you were told multiple times from lawmakers on Capitol Hill and the White House to make today about the minerals deal and the economic deal, and then get it signed and let negotiations play out over security guarantees step by step. Is that true?
I said that we have to sign this document, and we are ready for this. And this will be the first step to security guarantees, but it's not enough. I think so. Maybe I don't know something. I don't know some details. That's why I wanted to share it with the president, my thoughts, and to hear him again, because he has a plan how to stop Putin. And maybe, as I said, maybe it's out of big conversations, but we have to share it. You know, this is so sensitive. You know, just a ceasefire without security guarantees, this is so sensitive for our people. I'm speaking like a president of a people who are in this struggle 3 years, and they just want to hear that America on our side and that America will stay with us, not with Russians, with us. That's it. But I'm sure that it will be. This is the first step to security guarantees. Europeans, we don't need to lose them. They are good allies for the United States. The United States is the most or the biggest donator of support and of peace. But we don't need to lose Europe, and they also want to know next steps. We have to be very open to understand how to stop the war.
Right. But do you think the public spat in the Oval Office in front of the media served Ukrainians well today?
I think this kind of spat is I mean this this is not good for both sides anyway, and I'm very open, but I can't change our Ukrainian attitude to Russian, and I don't want they kill us for us. This is where
a lot of your people see themselves as Russian. We have to acknowledge that not everyone in Ukraine is on board with your opposition to Russia obtaining this territory.
Very, very clear that Americans are the best of our friends, Europeans are the best of our friends, and Putin with Russian, their enemies. And it doesn't mean that we don't want peace. We just want to recognize the reality, the real situation.
President Trump is convinced that you will never sign a deal with Vladimir Putin. Is he right?
No, I think so. What I think, Ukraine wants peace, and we will have anyway diplomacy. We will have negotiations. I only said that I think so. It's about just and lasting peace. It means that we have to be very strong at the table of negotiations, and at these negotiations, Ukraine and Russia, like sides of this war, have to be, and the United States and Europe. That's what I said. So we are ready for peace, but we have to be in strong position. What does it mean? Just to know that our army is strong, that our partners with us, and that we have security guarantees. Am I not right?
Leaving the White House today, President Trump said this.
He's looking to go on and fight. He wants to come back right now, but I can't do that.
What do you make of that? Do you want to continue fighting? Do you want peace? And if he had the opportunity to go back to the White House right now, would you do it?
No. First of all, we want peace. That's why I'm in the United States. That's why I visited President Trump. And thanks for invitation again. The deal on minerals is the first step to security guarantees. It's meant for the peace, closer to peace. That's why I'm here. And we have tough situation. To understand it is to be in Ukraine. You saw it, Brad. You was once. Thank you again. So I think that's very important to understand what's going on. But I respect my soldiers and our people, our civilians who work and support our warriors. I can't say just stop. Nobody will stop because everybody afraid that Putin will come back tomorrow. We want just and lasting peace. It's true. We want security guarantees. We raised this topic about NATO the quickest way, but not all the countries are on this side. I said, okay, if not NATO, nobody is pushing. If not NATO, let's build NATO in Ukraine. That's my position. Europeans are ready to have contingents on our territory, boots on the ground. United States thinks maybe to help, maybe USA backstop, have to be just to guarantee that they are with Europeans. Look at Europe, it's strong, it became stronger, but they also want to have allies like the United States. That's what I said. I just want to understand what the peace. It's not my question, Brad. This is the question from all our people.
You mentioned when I traveled to the front lines with you last year to see the situation, to mark the anniversary of the war, and this is what you told me back then.
Will Ukrainians survive without Congress support? Of course, but not all of us. It will be tragedy for all of us, not only for Ukraine, not only for Ukrainians, for all Europe.
Yeah. So the question today is, can Ukraine win this war or hold off Russia without continued U.S. support?
It will be difficult for us. That's why I'm here.
No.
That's why we speak about the future negotiations. It will be difficult without your support, but we can't lose our values, our people. We can't lose our freedom. So a lot of people, Russians came to our territory, you know it. Russians came to our houses, and everybody saw it, video, images, a lot of things. They killed so many people. Just to forget it, just to say that Putin is a great guy? No, without us. We don't want him. That's why we speak about, everybody remembered how it was the first days of the war, how they came. Nobody wants in Ukraine. Yes, of course, nobody will forget it, but nobody wants to have, again, new wave of occupation. That's why when we say, no NATO, what security guarantees can we have? I'm not pushing, we are not pressuring, we're just asking, we're just sharing very clear messages to our friends, to Americans.
Right.
If you stay with us, thank you so much, but let's do the infrastructure of security guarantees. Let's just share with our people, just with our people.
Bro, you don't have the leverage to demand how things play out if Putin breaks his agreement with Trump. You are suffering. Your people are dying. Your interests are not our interests. Do you need our help? We are offering it, but we are offering it on the terms that a peace deal is made. If it's not adhered to after it's made, that's on us. It's on us in virtue of the agreement, but you can't demand it in advance of the agreement.
That America stay with us, that's great. We count on it, but just to share it and to say it, that's all.
How does the war end? How do you get to a deal? You're at a place right now where there is no deal. How do you get it back on track?
I think that Europe is ready for contingents and to help us with financing of big army, such big as we have now. This is our army, the part of security guarantees.
Okay.
Now we want to find the place for our biggest strategic partner,
Have
for
fun.
the United States, or United States will propose where and how United States will give us security guarantees, what kind of and what part of volume of security guarantees. And when we will be ready with this, we will come to diplomacy. To diplomacy, yes, with Russians, Europeans, United States, and we. Four of us, I think this is real way, because with weapon, it's too long, it's not enough. We don't have enough weapon to push them out, and we don't see now, for now, we don't see really big volume of new support from the United States, but with all respect again. So for today, we'll be ready with security guarantee. Really, when I say NATO, it's not about that we are focusing on this word. It's about very understandable infrastructure of security guarantees. And you see that no NATO countries, for today, no NATO countries been under attacks.
Senator Lindsey Graham, Republican from South Carolina, he has been a big proponent of you and of Ukraine, said this today after the meeting.
I have never been more proud of the president. I was very proud of J.D. Vance, standing up for our country. We want to be helpful. What I saw in the Oval Office was disrespectful, and I don't know if we can ever do business with Zelensky again. He either needs to resign and send somebody over that we can do business with, or he needs to change.
So he says you need to consider resigning. Is that on the table?
I don't know if he will be happy after my words. This decision can do only people of Ukraine.
You're not going to step down to do a peace deal.
No, I was always ready. I'm not sure that is a good idea for.
I cancel elections. I was always ready to step down.
This such proposals, but anyway, I always said if United States will support NATO, so I think that it's enough for Ukraine. So I think I did all I had to do, and if somebody is not, this happy with me, okay, but between us, yes, Americans vote for American president. Each European country vote for their president, and only Ukrainian. With all respect to Lindsey, if I can say Lindsey, we know each other, yes, and
only Ukrainians.
Democrats have had
their president.
Democrats have had the opposite.
You cancel
reaction
elections!
to the Oval Office meeting. Democratic Senator Chris Murphy from Connecticut posted this: "What just happened in the Oval Office was a planned ambush designed to help a brutal Russian dictator and hurt America's security. Trump has become Putin's lapdog, and America's global power is hemorrhaging as America sides with dictators over democracy. What an embarrassment." Do you think the confrontation in the Oval Office today was pre-planned, like Senator Murphy suggests?
I don't know.
Bro.
You don't know? You think maybe?
I don't know. No. I don't. I mean, this. I don't know about it. I think no. I think it was just really.
No, or I don't know. Those are two different answers. No, or I don't know.
Tough situation because we've been very open, very direct.
What set you off? What made you mad? Because they said your tenor and tone set that.
It's not about mad. It's not, Brad. You see, how to say, when you are in the United States, and for example, president or vice president or somebody or senators, doesn't matter, big politicians, yes, when they, for example, say that Ukraine is almost destroyed, that our soldiers run away, that they are not heroes, that Ukraine lost millions of...
That's not what Trump said. He said they are heroes, but that they're getting slaughtered, and he wants to stop that.
Civilians, that his president is dictator, you know? What is the reaction? It's not about me. The reaction is that where is our friendship between Ukraine and the United States? That's it. This is filling, and that's why I do not want to lose our great partners at the United States.
A friendship and a partnership is predicated on the contribution of both sides to that relationship. That was the nature of the meeting today, was to solidify the agreement that both parties had an interest in going forward, and you stopped that.
I just said that it's not the first time. I said it by phone, and we had some other conversations, and we had in Munich meetings, and I said, please, be correct. Just, I want to be very polite. I mean this, be correct with this number. When you say about the number, each person is important. When you say about 1 million of losses, we don't have any million of losses. Just when you speak about the territories, maybe some territories and etc., it's not just territory, it's houses. It's people's lives, you know. Their fathers, mother, their relatives, grandfather, they died or during this war. Nobody wants to forgive Putin. It's not funny, you know, or fairy tale. This is real life. That's what I said. And when you said it, a lot of times to my big friends who've been here today in our dialogue, and then they again begin to repeat the same things, I think it's not. I mean, that's why I said it's not good way between partners, good partners and friends.
How are we partners? What do we get from you?
That's it. And I think that if journalists asking questions to president, with all respect to vice president, I mean, he has his interview.
Mr.
This
President,
is our dialogue.
Shouldn't this dynamic, if you're going to be like this, be behind closed doors? Not...
Of course. And
so do you regret that? Are you regretting that happened today?
Regretting? Yes, I think it was not good. I think it was not good because we had a lot of different dialogues. I'm always open to media, but there are very sensitive things. I just want to be honest, and I just want our partners to understand the situation correctly, and I want to understand everything correctly. That's about us. Not to lose our friendship.
A couple more things. What are the next steps in your mind? Here we are today. What are the next steps?
I think so. United States wanted this deal very much. And we've been not against this deal, but we wanted to understand what parts in security guarantees will take this deal and what next steps. Just again to understand for our people. During the war, what you don't like, even sometimes hate, surprises. It's understandable. Many terrible things this war brought to us. So we don't want any surprises. Yes, that's why we want to be very fair with our partners. And I think this deal, it was prepared by teams. It was not simple during weeks. And now it's ready. I think that they have to sign. The countries have to sign. The ministers have to sign. That's it. I don't know when they will do it. It depends on the American side.
So
exactly.
the minerals deal did not have security guarantees listed in it.
It's a part.
The security guarantees?
This is the part in the infrastructure of security guarantees. Because, for example,
what does that mean?
Trump said that I think so that if we will be there in some productions and etc. in minerals, that Putin will never come on this territory where we are. And I said to him, don't trust Putin. Why? I said, because it's not, I mean we respect and we believe in strongness of the United States, but I said to him that we had more than 20 companies, American companies, big companies on the territory of Ukraine, and we had offices even on temporary occupied territories. For Putin, it doesn't matter. It's American, European company or Ukrainian, it doesn't matter. He just came and occupied it. That's what I said. I think this is a great idea, how to strengthen Ukraine and how to make business between two countries, how to make additional jobs for two countries. But it's not just these will not save us.
I read what the Democratic senator said, that Trump has become Putin's lapdog. Do you agree with that President Trump is too close to Vladimir Putin in your mind?
We spoke about it, and I think today very openly President Trump, he said that I want to be in the middle, otherwise I will not put these guys at the table.
And is he right?
I want really, I want to be very honest, I want really him to be more at our side. I will explain why. Because it's not just that the war began somewhere between our countries. The war began when Russia brought this war to our country, and they're not right. And
that's history. That's an empirical, historical question. Let's go back to Putin's discussion with Tucker Carlson, as boring as that was, about the history behind this attempted overtaking, acquisition, whatever you want to call it. Whatever, that's not our business. Our business is, you want our help. We've talked to the other side. We've talked to you. Here's the terms of our help. And you want a blank check. You're saying, well, what if they don't agree? You're not in a position. You're not in a position to say that. If you don't want the deal, don't take the deal.
They are not right. They didn't respect our territorial integrity. They brought the war on our territory to our families. Sorry for repeating, to our houses. And they're not right. And of course, all the Ukrainians want to hear strong position of the United States on our side. From one side, it's understandable. From another side, he wants to find some way of dialogue with Putin. But he always said, as I remember, he always said that peace through strength. And that's why I think that he's strong, United States strong, two parties together in this question, two parties always together against Russia. You're very strong to do strong steps against Putin.
Americans are worried about where the money has...
Zelensky wants an ally, full stop. He wants an ally no matter what. Trump is offering to be an arbitrator, and that's the bottom line.
Gone.
Yeah.
Will there be a very rigorous accounting of where the money has gone? It seems like there is some question about whether there's corruption or sold military equipment.
No, it can't be so. 100 billions we've got during 3 years.
183 from the U.S.
Now, on the paper, in the documents, yes, but we have, in fact, because 67 came like a weapon. It came through the border. It's checked and it's fixed by everybody, and we shared it not once with the American side. And 31.5, it was direct financial support to the budget. Again, it's very open. It digitalized. It's open, free, and please, if somebody wants to check it again, we are very, very open with this.
Last thing, Mr. President.
Yeah.
Do you think your relationship with Donald Trump, President Trump, after today, can be salvaged?
Can be? Yes, of course, because it's relations more than two presidents. It's the historical relations, strong relations between our people. And that's why I always began with to thank your people, from our people. And this is the most important.
No, that's not
and
how
of
you
course, thankful to President and of course to Congress, but first of all to your people. Your people help to save our people. People, the first. Human rights, the first. This is very, very important. And we are thankful and sorry for this. I mean, we wanted very much to have only strong relations, and I'm very count that we will have it.
Mr. President, we're honored that you kept this interview. Thank you very much for the time.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Ooh, we shall see. We shall see. We shall see. I mean, you kind of understand where he's coming from. You can't pretend like you're not.
Well, today was interesting. Zelensky went to the White House and met the fashion.
You kind of understand. He met the fashion. Please look at this look on his face. Yeah, you kind of understand where he's coming from. You can't not, right? He's like saying, well, what if Putin breaks his agreement? But the thing is, you're from a negotiation standpoint, you're not in a position to stake that as a condition. You need help. That's between Trump and Putin. That's the nature of you asking for Trump's help against Putin. You can't say, well, what if Putin backstabs you, Trump? We need more. No, you're asking for Trump's help. He's offering to negotiate with you. He's not your ally in the sense that he wholeheartedly is on. He doesn't have the same interests as you. We're not you. We're not Europe. We're not the Ukraine. Deal or no deal. Good night.